Alright guys, so we're doing another Patreon request, and this one comes from my good friend, the Mount Vernon Kid, who asked me to do a pretty interesting subject, and we'll get to that in a minute. But as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. You have to go to the 3rd tier for that, and yeah, that'll give you access to all the videos over there too. As well as allow you to start sending requests for videos to here on YouTube. But other than that, let's get started with the video. So this video, as you can see, is a pretty interesting subject, and we are in spooky season, and I thought I'd do this request for Chris first and foremost. So this video, we're going to be talking about horror movie mashups I would love to see. Now, throughout cinema history, we've had several, dating back to Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, to obviously Alien vs. Predator, Freddy vs. Jason, and King Kong vs. Godzilla, and Godzilla vs. Kong, the part of the MonsterVerse. It's always fun to see your favorite monsters, clash in a titanic fight. So here are some movies. Basically, the question Chris has posed to me is that what are some horror movie mashups, like horror movie monster fights, I would love to see done in movies. So I'm going to go through a few of them. A lot of them are. I usually go for the more plausible ones. I really try to stay more plausible when I do these videos. I try to stay as plausible to the possibility of this happening. We're going to have little fun ones, too. We're going to have some ones that are a little out there. So, let's get started. So, one I've always wanted to see is Jason, and I've talked about it before. Hell, I did a fanfiction idea on it not too long ago. Jason Voorhees versus Frankenstein. Now, you may be asking, well, the rights are still up in the air. Yes. But hopefully we can... It does look like the rights issues are coming to an end, hopefully. It does look like it's coming to an end at some point, but regardless, the idea that Jason could end up with a certain movie, with some movie studio, it does look like that, with Crystal Lake, the prequel series apparently it's going to be on Peacock, so it could be that Universal Studios gets the rights. So, why would I want to see Jason fight Frankenstein? Why do I want to see Jason versus technically the Frankenstein monster, but for fuck's sake, we'll just call him Frankenstein. I know I prefer to call it the Frankenstein monster, but everyone just says Frankenstein. Fucking sure, whatever. So why do I want to see a Jason Frankenstein movie? Because it just kind of writes itself, really. You would have, Jason is an undead monster born through supernatural means. Hell, he was reborn through lightning, so it wouldn't be that hard. And plus, Jason, like the monster, was brought back, like I said, through lightning. They're both undead monsters that are incredibly strong, just sheer brutality, and yeah. Now, would I want it to be look like the classic Karloff monster? Not necessarily. And even if Universal Studios doesn't get the rights, Frankenstein is a public domain character. The property of Frankenstein is in public domain character. So you could have some other studio make a Frankenstein as long as it doesn't look like, Karloff's Frankenstein, and you're good. Yeah. And you may be saying, well, then what's the point? The point is you have Jason fight Frankenstein. I know some people are going to be like, well, that's dumb. Why would you want Frankenstein to fight, the Frankenstein monster to fight Jason? It should be serious. Yes. The guy who fought a telekinetic teenager went to hell after he became a giant slug demon who possessed people. Fought a dream demon with claw hands, and went to space and became a cyborg needs to be serious. Totally. You're totally right. That franchise needs to be uber serious, Yeah, no. So, that's the thing about Friday the 13th, is that you can do ridiculous shit with your property. You can do absolutely ridiculous shit with this movie, with Friday the 13th. And you could get away with it more because we've seen this ridiculous stuff from Jason. So yeah, like I said, my plot of how I would do this is that a descendant of Victor Frankenstein has sent a squad of mercenaries to capture Jason from Crystal Lake and bring him to the Swiss Alps and try to experiment on him and learn the secrets of like how Jason was brought back to life without the same kind of research that Victor used to bring back the monster. I'd even have it that through Jason the monster is resurrected again and the two of them fight. You could even have the whole thing of Jason now in Europe. We've had him in space and in Manhattan, so why not have him in Europe too? I'm just saying that would be kind of perfect. Now here's a Universal Studios crossover that could happen and should happen. And Don Mancini is a crossover nut and he wants to have Chucky fight someone. So I'm like, dude, you have the perfect opponent for Chucky in-house in Universal Studios. I want to see Chucky versus Leprechaun. I'm surprised that wasn't Universal Studios' pick for doing this. They wanted, you know what they wanted to do to compete with Freddy versus Jason? You really want to know? It was Candyman versus Leprechaun. Yeah, no, really. Instead of going with the obvious fun, insane pick of having Chucky fight Leprechaun, they wanted to try. Universal Studios wanted to have their dark and serious, grim, dark romance character fight a leprechaun. Obviously, Tony Todd put the kibosh on that. So yeah, if we're gonna Leprechaun is still a popular character. People still love that little shit. So to have him fight Chucky and have them just mouth off to each other, they both use magic. Technically, it's voodoo versus Celtic magic, so it'd be really cool to see those two, combat one another. So why not have Chucky and Leprechaun fight? It's a fight we've all wanted. So do that. That would make how much even if it's like a sci-fi movie, even because Sci-Fi Channel is doing the Chucky series, and they did Leprechaun Returns, which was the requel to the original Leprechaun. So why not have Chucky versus Leprechaun? It would make so much sense to have a Chucky Leprechaun fight on so many levels of just how batshit insane it would be, and also it would also be fucking hilarious. Yeah, I'd say even bring back the guy they got for Leprechaun Returns. But hey, Warwick Davis this could be a perfect way to bring back Warwick Davis, too. I'm just saying, Willow isn't around, the Willow TV show is canceled. I'm just saying, maybe you could convince that could be the other thing to attract people, is you get Warwick Davis, and this is the movie of him returning to being Leprechaun again. It'd get views. It'd make money. That's all I'm saying. It would make money. So anyway, oh god. So Chucky versus Leprechaun is one. Another I would love to see, another two properties I would love to see, but this is one we'll never see happen, because this is two studios that will probably never work together. And that would be Candyman and Sadako. I would love to see a Ring Candyman crossover and having those two characters fight. It's literally two characters who have who deal with myths and legends and the power of those myths. And plus, I would love to see a character from the East take on a character from the West. That'd be a lot. I think that would be personally a lot of fun to see come to fruition. So yeah, that would be really fun. Another one I would really enjoy for horror characters to meet. I would say I know a lot of people say Jason versus Michael is one that we've all been dying to see. I'm just like, yeah, but let's that would be cool. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see a Jason versus Michael movie, and we were gonna get. Apparently, there was a lot of talk of getting one because for how well Freddy versus Jason did, but the rights issue happened. There was also the talk of, speaking of characters that were going to fight each other because of how popular Freddy vs. Jason was Michael vs. Pinhead, another film that the ever terrifying and disgusting human beings known as the Weinsteins wanted to do, to have after Halloween Resurrection, to have Michael and Pinhead fight. But it was probably more along the lines to keep the another year to keep the rights to Hellraiser. But I digress. Really, like, those are the only ones I think would be those would be the most fun. I would even love to see, maybe that they could finally do, they could probably look at Godzilla vs. Kong, Universal Studios, and go, hey, wait a minute. Why don't we do a remake of, I know Godzilla vs. Kong isn't an actual remake of King Kong vs. Godzilla. I'm just saying, like, they're like, hey, why don't we just do a remake of Frankenstein meets the Wolfman? Could you imagine a Frankenstein versus Wolfman movie in this day and age? I'm surprised they haven't thought of that yet. Hell, they made it a haunted house for the Universal Monster House one year for Halloween Horror Nights. So why not bring it back in some capacity? Anyway, so there you go, guys. Those are just a few ideas I had for horror movies horror movie mashups I would love to see. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what are some horror movie mashups that you would like to see become real? Like, what are some that you could possibly see, and what are I doubt we'll ever get fucking Alien and Predator fighting someone who isn't from the Disney wheelhouse. But anyway, so once again, I'd like to thank Chris for sending me this request. And like I said before, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the 3rd tier, and then you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.